Now let's take a look at what does a PC technician do and what are some of the traits that a good PC technician has. First off, they have to know their stuff. They have to be a technician. They have to troubleshoot and repair different problems that they might have. Secondly, and I can't emphasize this enough, even though I'll try, they have to be a scholar. You have to pick up a book. You have to learn about computers. I don't know how many times that I went to help somebody, say in a desktop role, and I went straight to the help menu to find out how to do whatever I could do there. At first I felt like I'm cheating until an older and wiser technician told me that, hey, there's no cheating in computers. If these people can look at their own help menu and figure out how to do a certain thing, all the more money and job security for us. So, when you go out there, if you're new to the business, you have to be a scholar. You have to learn about computers. There's very few jobs where you know everything there is to know about a particular computer, about a particular network, about a particular business's computing habits. As soon as you find yourself completely confident in your ability to work on computers, hey, it's time to find another job because you're not going anywhere. You're always behind with computers. You've got to be a scholar. You have to pick up a book and you have to study that book. Thirdly, diplomatic. You have to be diplomatic to the people you're working on their computers, because if you've ever dealt with help desk or you've ever called up some tech support line, some 1-800 number, those people can be humiliating, can't they? They can really make you feel somewhat stupid. So, the personal touch is very important when we're dealing with people and when we're dealing with people's problems with their computers. Because a lot of times, if you're working desktop support, you go up there and you're helping them out with their computer. Hey, if you're not nice to them, they're not going to remember you fixed their computer. All they're going to remember is you weren't nice to them. So, a good PC technician has to be technical, has to be scholarly, you got to study, and has to be diplomatic, because we're dealing with people and their problems, and their computer somewhat comes second. Now let's take a look at how computers communicate, what the three major processes are. We got input, we got process, and we got output. We have different devices that are input devices, different devices that are process devices, and of course different devices that are output devices. First off, let's take a look at, say, an accounting program. Input, we have data entry, order entry, accounts receivable, and things like that. The processing is actually calculating the commissions, doing all the calculations on that, say, spreadsheet, commissions, what kind of payroll we have. And then the output, of course, would be cutting the checks, summary reports, invoices. Let's take a look at word processing. Word processing, the input from the keyboard is what you type inside of the computer. The processing part is formatting, the actual text, the word wrap, the font size, the Times New Roman, the bold, the italics would be part of that process. And of course, the output would be the file itself. A spreadsheet, input, numbers, process, you apply one or more formulas to the data, and the output would be the results from that process. Some kind of database. Now, databases are popping up all over the place. Databases are just about everywhere these days. So a database, the input would be getting all the information inside of the database. The processing would be indexing that database so you can access it. And the access, of course, would be the output of that particular database. And then finally, one of my favorite things, games. You gotta love games if you're going to work in computer. Well, it's not a prerequisite, but it helps. Games. The input is however you move your mouse, however you move your keyboard, and then the processing would be the actual game itself, having to pick up your little red collar in order to get the blue sword to kill the demon monster. And then the output, of course, would be how the computer actually moves, how your character moves within the computer itself. So you can see just about anything we do on a computer can be broken down to input, process, and output.